Yeah, very good morning to all. I wish all the employees of Institute of Forest Biodiversity on this occasion of 74th Republic Day of India, Indian Republic. And today we are all celebrating 74th Republic Day. It has its own significance and importance. And Government of India, state governments, all organizations like our institute, all are celebrating. And on this occasion, I wish and congratulate all my fellow colleagues on this occasion. And this is Republic Day. 26 January is important in our lives, and this is occasion to remember our uh, past history of India. 26 January, and we are celebrating 74th Republic Day means on 26 January 1950 we have adopted our constitution and India became republic. That means we got independence on 15th August 1947, but India became republic on 26 January 1950 only. Before that, India was a dominion state under British government, and Governor General of Britain was the head of our state, Indian state. And 1950, after adopting our constitution, we have got our own elected president, and Dr. Rajendra Prasad was the first president, and India became the sovereign socialist secular democratic republic on 26 January 1950. And why only they have selected 26 January for adopting the constitution? There was a lot of historical background also. And during our independence struggle, Indian National Congress was fighting for freedom. And in 1929, on 26th December 1929, Indian National Congress, they have held one plenary session at Lahore, and they have decided that 26 January 1930 onward they should celebrate as Independence Day. On 26 January 1930, first Independence Day was celebrated as by the Indian National Congress. But subsequently we have got independence on 15th August 1947. But 26 January has not lost its significance, because first Independence Day was celebrated by Indian National Congress on 26 January 1930. And to commemorate that, after adopting Indian Constitution, and Indian Constitution was adopted by the Parliament Constituent Assembly on 26th November 1949, that we are celebrating as National Law Day. 26th November we have celebrated. Now we are celebrating as National Constitution Day, and in that only they have decided to adopt the constitution from 26th January 1950 onwards. And before that there was a dominion state, and lot of developments were taking place, because change will not come on overnight. We have got the independence overnight on 15th August 1947. India became independent, but there was no constitution. Then constitution upon draft committee was constituted under Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, and we have to make our own constitution. Before that, Government of India Act of 1935 was applicable. That was adopted by the British Parliament, and until 1950 we were following the Government of India Act 1935, and Governor General was the head of our state. First Governor General was Mountbatten from 1947, 15th August 1947 to up to 1948. He was the Mountbatten was the Governor General of India. Afterwards, Rajagopalachari was the Governor General up to 1950, 26 January 1950. And 1950, 26 January 1950, we have got our own elected Indian president. He is the head of the state. Dr. Rajendra Prasad was the first elected president of India. This is the historical background about 26 January. And because why we are telling history means we are so only remembering our, it is the occasion to remember our historical past and what is the significance of 26 January. With that intention, I have given a brief background about our historical background about the 26 January. Um, 1950 onwards we are celebrating, and today we are the entered into 74th day under the republic. But before that, there was a lot of development took place during this transition period. There was a lot of history for freedom struggle, but during this transition period there was not much history. But there was a lot of transformation change has occurred from 1947 to 1950. There were many princely states were there. They have left overnight Britishers leaving the country after partition. India was made into India and Pakistan under Indian Partition Act. They have made Indian Independence Act. They have made, and in that act itself, they have partitioned India into Pakistan. Pakistan constituting this East Pakistan and West Pakistan. West Pakistan, this Bangladesh portion also was with partitioned, and India was also made as per the Indian Independence Act. In 1947, there were more than 500 princely states in India, like Junagadh, Hyderabad. Many independent states were there. During this transition period only, all these princely states were annexed, and more than 500 princely states, small, big, and Hyderabad was the biggest state, independent. And the Hyderabad Nizam was planning to make it own independent state, and or he was negotiating with Pakistan to merge with Pakistan. Like that, many developments were taking place. But after formation of the Indian government under Jawaharlal Nehru, and Sardar Patel was the Home Minister of India, and they have taken lot of initiative. Sardar Patel negotiated with many of the kings of the Indian princely states, and he has annexed all the princely states, more than 500 princely states. They were annexed into Indian Indian domain, and they were became part of the India. And so today we have the consolidated one nation Indian. But before that, many were there, many small states scattered here and there. There was not a single country. And during this transition period, helped them to merge all these smaller states. And we fought war also with Pakistan during 1947, after immediately after got independence. And Kashmir was also part separate country under Muslim majority state ruled by a Hindu king. Kashmir king was planning to become independent. He announced independent. He want to become the independent state, but Pakistan immediately sent its army to occupy Kashmir. And Kashmir, part of the Kashmir was conquered by Pakistan army, entered, and they have occupied. Indian army was also sent to, and they were resisted. And still part of the Kashmir is under with Pakistan at that time. And subsequently, and the Kashmir king made announcement with for merging with India. That's why we could able to get to part of the Jammu Kashmir with Indian state. Otherwise, they would have occupied, and Pakistan would have occupied entire Kashmir. And the Kashmir Raja, they merged India, and then Indian government sent armies and protected the territory, Kashmir territory, and annexed with India. Like that, Junagadh prince was also, he was also not merging, but subsequently the people revolted, and the Junagadh king left to Pakistan, and subsequently Nizam of Hyderabad also merged his territory in 1948 only. He merged with Indian Union. Like that, we have lot of developments took place during this transition period, and we have got a single integral union territory of India. And this constitution, it is protecting. Why? and it is protecting the rights of all citizens. Like we are enjoying all the freedom, all equality, and this constitution was also Indian constitution. It has its beauty, and the constitution committee, draft committee, they have reviewed all constitutions of the world, and they have taken all the best features of the constitutions of the Britain, Ireland, America, and all other constitutions they have studied, and they have taken all the best features into our country. Ours is the lengthiest constitution in the world, written constitution in the world, and we have many articles, more than 400 articles are there in our constitution, and it guarantees freedom to all the citizens, because ours is a very diverse country with many languages, many linguistic groups, many regional groups, many regions, many religions, many uh, tribal groups, many cultures are flourishing in this country before independence and during colonial rule also, and many invaders also they have settled in India, and it was a very huge task to protect the interest of all these communities. Like that, similarly, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, they also got freedom, but Pakistan they have made constitution, and they have made a religious Islamic country there, and Sri Lanka also there were ethnic conflicts were there with Tamils and Sinhalese. They have made their constitution, but India made a very good constitution. India guarantees freedom to all religions, all races, all castes, and irrespective of so much diversity, and India is continues to be maintain its unity and integrity in spite of various diversities and very uh, diverse nature, and many conflict groups are there. Still we are independent. That is the beauty of our constitution. It maintains integrity and protects the rights of all citizens. Like we have got fundamental rights. To protect our fundamental rights, we have various legal remedies are there, and we go to court, and constitution gives that there are three pillars: legislature, judiciary, and executive. The legislature, we have parliament and state assemblies. Parliament and assemblies, they make laws, and the executive, they implement the laws for the benefit of the citizens, and judiciary protects the rights of all the citizens as per the constitution. And these are the three pillars of our constitution making us, and all citizens are protected under the purview of the constitution. No person can be. Before that also we have Civil Rights Act, they have made Britishers, but nowadays the Civil Rights Acts is provisions are not being used. As per Civil Rights Act, untouchability was prohibited, bonded labor was prohibited, but Civil Rights Act still exists, but we are not using the provisions of Civil Rights Act. Nobody reads Civil Rights Act nowadays. Only constitutional provisions are used to whenever anybody's rights are affected. We have good constitution. Fundamental rights guarantees all freedoms to all citizens. That's why Civil Rights Act lost its importance. Only constitutional provisions we have: right to freedom, right to equality, right to uh, freedom of expression, speech, right to religion, right to educational cultural rights. Like that, we have many freedoms. All these freedoms are protected as per the um, legal remedies. As per the, suppose nobody can be detained. If anybody is detained illegally by any agency, and you can file a petition in the High Court or Supreme Court, to writ petition you can file. That is called habeas corpus petition. And if suppose anybody is aggravated, suppose if you are suspended or dismissed, you will immediately you can file a writ petition under Article 32 in Supreme Court or High Court. So, to writ petition. Writ petition means basically a written order issued by court. Suppose if somebody is dismissed, and the court issues order, and you keep it in abeyance, that is the writ jurisdiction of the court, for protecting the rights of the citizens. And apart from that, we have good, uh, even though we have union of states, but center has edge over the union. Center is strong. That's why we are able to maintain our integrity. There are 29 states in our country, but our union government is very strong as per the constitution. Constitution gives a edge to our this is the basic about, because the Republic Day is basically celebrated for commemorating our uh, adaptation of our constitution. I gave brief about our constitution. And coming to our institute, and this ICFRE, our FRI institute was established in 1906 during British period. At that time, the importance was recognized by the British government because of their for business needs or any other needs. The timber was widely used in those days for shipbuilding, because these Britishers, they have colonized. Because of their supremacy in navy, they demanded huge timber requirement for shipbuilding in their country, and they used to make ships by cutting oak trees in their country. Oak trees grows in cold areas like Himalayas. But after exhausting their oak forests, they have invaded India. India is having a good resource of our timber resources like teak, sal, and many other pterocarpus species. Very valuable timber species are there in Indian forests. That's why they have recognized importance, and they have established forest service in India in 1964 or 65. They have made forest laws in 19th century itself, and still we are following the Indian Forest Act of British government, 1927 Indian Forest Act. Coming to our institute, FRI was established in 1906 for basically to systematic study of forests, and they have appointed Brandis, one Germans were the pioneers in forestry research, and they were good in scientific forest management in their country. German forester Brandis was brought to India, and during his period, our FRI building was established, and many British scientists, Indian scientists, they have done enormous work, especially in the field of taxonomy, forest taxonomy. They have classified forest types. Still, we are following champion and safe classification. We have 16 types of forest types. At that time, they have studied and classified our forest areas. And the scientific forest management also started during British period. They have started preparing working plans our forest areas. Earlier, there was no concept of preparing working plan for forest areas for scientific management, because the resources are very limited. In those days, it was thought that forest is an inexhaustible resource, but it is not the case. Forest resources were also depleting. Indian forests were, but traditional forest dwellers, they were managing forests judiciously, but the commercial forest operations were carried out by Britishers. For especially, they needed timber, salt timber for laying railway lines, and salt forests were exhausted. And nowadays, the concrete pillars are used, but during British period, salt timber was widely used for railway sleepers. Like that, they have many commercial plantations were also established during British period only. This first teak plantation, commercial plantation, was established in Neelambur in Kerala. At that time, they have started commercial uh, plantation management techniques, silviculture techniques. All those techniques are in those days. Their period, the silviculture systems were developed for Indian forests, tropical forests. But basically, still mensuration exercise we study for in coniferous forest for, and all the scientific forest management started during that period, British period. But still, we are continuing their legacy, and forest research is also uh, going as per with on par with agriculture research. And after agriculture research, there was green revolution in 90s, in 70s, 80s. We have achieved surplus in food grain production, and still, but India also nowadays timber, we are importing timber, but there was not much production in timber. We can also um, attain self-sufficiency in timber production by scientific management of forests. But FRI and other institute, they are working, but due to we have to commitments for international global level also. We have to fulfill the international obligations for protecting our forests and wildlife and reducing greenhouse gases. And we are trying to increase our forest area, not only in forest areas but outside the forest areas. And development needed many forest areas conversion into hydroelectric project areas. Mining was also important to um, cause for depletion of our forest resources. But the role of ICFR is gaining importance nowadays. Our ICFR is representing all international conferences, and we are preparing all the documents for whether it is climate change or biodiversity conventions. All those conventions, ICFR is playing a major role. By the ministry is assigning all the commitments to ICFR. ICFR scientists are also working in that direction, whether preparation of carbon stock estimation or biodiversity management plans. All these aspects, ICFR is playing a major role in conservation aspects also, in forestry research activities also. And apart from that, ministry is assigning various other monitoring works, like we are monitoring. And ICFR's role is very essential in conserving our natural resources like forests, rivers, and our natural resources are limited, and ICFR's role is very crucial. And IFB is also contributing its share in forestry research. Even though we have limited staff like few scientists, IFB is doing a better job. And our team, they have worked for rejuvenation of Godavari river, and we have submitted a detailed project report for rejuvenation of Godavari river and all other aspects. And for any court to direction comes, NGT direction, we are preparing and submitting reports. And we are doing assisting forest department in scientific forest management of forest by helping them to prepare working plans. We have assisted state biodiversity boards also in preparation of people's biodiversity registers. But still there is need to improve our performance, and their financial resources are limited, budget allocation is limited by the ministry, grants are reduced. And ours is being an autonomous organization, ours is a society, not a direct government department, not a service department. Ours is an autonomous organization. We are supposed to raise our funds by ourselves by providing consultancy services or any other services, scientific services, technical services to other stakeholders like timber merchants or plywood industries or forest department or plantation owners or mining companies or municipal corporations. We have to give our scientific inputs, scientific knowledge or technical consultancy, so that we can generate our own funds for increasing our research outputs. And we are also going in that direction. And everybody should cooperate with and with the institute mandate to achieve these their targets and fulfill their mandate. With this, I conclude. Thank you, everybody. And once again, I wish you on the occasion of 74th Republic Day. Thank you very much.